I'm Debbie Oliver with the Hart County School System. For the last 3 years, I've been the transition specialist, and I've also had the role of team leader for our high school with the SPDIG project. And we knew we needed to get our graduation rate up, so we joined into the SPDIG project. And I'm going to back up a little bit and talk about the Bridge Act and how what I'm going to talk about relates to that. As you know, the Bridge Act in 6th grade, an interest indicator is given to the students, and and that indicator determines what kind of careers they're interested in. And then they will later develop an individualized graduation plan. That's very similar, I am assuming, to our transition plan for students with disabilities. Now, we've been writing transition plans for many years. In the beginning, we were just putting something on a piece of paper because we didn't have a clue what we were doing. Now, we really know what a transition plan is, and it needs to drive the IEP. That's the most important part of the IEP because that is what is going to help that student get out into the world and actually get a job and become a resourceful member of the community. So as we look at transition plans, we think about several things. First of all, we give that interest indicator with the Bridge Act in 6th grade. 7th grade in Hart County, I give another interest indicator that's designed for students with disabilities. We talk about what the results were. We have them immediately. We talk about what the student wants to do. Then in 8th grade, I give them an in-depth interview. We talk about what their career goal is. We talk about how they want to live. Do they want to live with their family? Do they want to live in an apartment on their own? Do they want a vehicle? Do they want to drive? Do they want a family member to drive them? Do they get along with their peers? Do they get along in their classes? How are their academics? What's their best subject? What's the worst subject? We just cover a myriad of information. When I'm through with that indicator and that student, I know so much about them. We tried at one point to let the teachers give this interview because the person who interviews the student learns the most about them. But then we found out that the teachers really didn't have the time. And I love giving the interviews because you guys, I get just the greatest answers from these kids. Some of them, one wanted to be a professional wrestler. And I said, well, are you wrestling in school? Well, no, he wasn't. And I said, okay, well, how do you plan to learn to be a professional wrestler? Well, he's watched it on television, and he just really likes it. So one of his goals, he said there were schools. I said, okay, fine. One of your goals could be that you'll go on the internet and you'll find out where these schools are and what the requirements are, because I guarantee you're going to have to know a little bit about it before you go. I have had students tell me they wanted to be a doctor, and it wasn't a realistic goal for that student. So in talking further, I found out that all she really wanted to do was work in a hospital. And that was a realistic goal. There were lots of things she could do in a hospital. So what we do is we write goals and then objectives, how we're going to reach those goals for each student that has this transition plan. I would recommend that if you can, get one of your special education transition plans and really look at it, because it'll probably give you an idea of what's going to be expected with the IGP when it comes. Another thing that we do in their senior year, I refer the students with disabilities, and they use that term loosely. You don't have to have an IEP. It could be a physical disability. It could be depression. I refer them to vocational rehab. If you don't know your voc rehab counselor, get to know them well, because they have funds that we all love to hear about. They can provide some college tuition money. They can provide some transportation funds for students to get to college. Then they can also provide training for those students who choose not to go to college in another route. They have, in our area, each area is different, we have a career center called Goodwill Job Training, and that's where our students go. They go through an evaluation period of 2 weeks. They get paid to go for those 2 weeks. They are picked up at school. They are transported back to school. Then when that 2-week period is over, if they did really well on their evaluation, then they can go back for additional training, and they will, when they're finished, help them find a job. And our goal, like I said, is for all of our students to become employed and good, upstanding members of society. Let's see. Oh, I do want to mention this. I know that you elementary principals and faculty are sitting out there thinking, how does this relate to me? There is no time that's too early to start talking about what students want to do when they grow up. I would suggest when they first come to school, have some kind of an activity that deals with careers. And then as they progress through elementary school, build on that. Some trips in your community to some of these job sites. Take an inventory of what kinds of career students are interested in, then try to visit as many of those job sites as you can. Build that interest so that those students can, when they get to 6th grade, have an idea. You know, if we never start talking about what you want to do, it's really hard when you get to 6th grade to come up with an idea of what you want to do. I honestly don't think in 6th grade I had a clue what I wanted to do. I probably didn't until I went to college and had to declare a major. But we do start a lot sooner, and it is successful if we start sooner. As part of this SPDIG project, I do want to tell you that these collaboration coaches, we have 2 of them here today. They will be invaluable sources of information for you guys. If you become involved in a collaboration coach focus group, you will share ideas with other counties. And as my experience with the SPDIG project, that was probably the most important part of it, because I was able to go back to Hart County every month with a new idea, a way that we could do something that would make a difference in these children's lives as far as raising the graduation rate.
Well, we hope that we've covered, there's no way to talk about everything, but if we gave you a little taste of it, after hearing everything today, there's lots of good things out there. Your collaboration coach and your school improvement people will help you find what's right for you and your students, all in the interest of closing that gap.